Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. This is going to be a quick one. So basically, another day, more gains. You know, a lot of people, a lot of traders would have liked for some type of rest before potentially breaking out into 2015 highs, but market doesn't do what everyone wants. That's just the way it is. You know, you go quickly to the chart of the SPX, you'll see that we had this lower pivot here. If you guys remember last week, it's almost like this was like 10 years ago. It wasn't. It was last week. Here's when the market looked like death. This is when we broke below the 200-day. This is when every bear roared saying, here we go, we're cooked. And then 2 days later, that Friday gap and go could have got you back to neutral. Then from there, pow. Okay, a few different signs that could have given you some clues to readjust, get some longs on. You know, first of all, it cleared this pivot with a little authority and then gave you another day. Then yesterday, pretty much digested, and that's, I guess, all you got. And now we're right back to the highs here. So at this particular point, if you've been short from here and you're rolling it up, that's what you do. If you switch some gears and you've tried to be long, which, you know, has been very rewarding but a little harder to do, you've done much better. And then that's where we are. So at this particular point, the SPX is right back a stone throw away from 2015 highs. Do we get through there tomorrow? I'm not 100% sure, but all I know is that you hopefully had some of these price points that we talk about for adjustments, and we're right there. And usually you want to see if there are like leading groups, if there are stocks that are breaking out, and there are plenty of them. Okay, first of all, leading groups, you go to the IBBs first. Okay, this group that held the 50-day, okay, it broke out first, had a rest today, you know, or yesterday, I'm sorry, came in first and then rallied back up. This cleared the old high, and this group is on its way. Okay, the indices themselves made a move down to the 200-day, which is right here. This, they went to the 50-day. And then you had a small pullback yesterday. Today, I talked about maybe fading the open and went from up $3 to almost flat, but then regrouped, and now looks still poised. The Qs, you know, technology, boom. Okay, healthy markets are led by technology, and this group broke out above this 111 for the first time. Cleared the pivot here. We talked about trading against the gap. This gap never got filled. If you bought here, closed your eyes, left for a week, you're doing really well. If you're thinking you can't go any higher and you're shorting this whole way up, you're in trouble. You know, if you've been selectively looking for longs, that still makes sense. You know, that's been prudent. You know, not the easiest move, but when they happen fast. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above highs. And now you have another gap to trade against. And I thought today that Intel would have been helpful. And it didn't even need Intel. Intel basically did nothing. Gapped up, did absolutely nothing. Weak group, semis are still weak, but if you said semis are weak, I'm going to short the rest of the market, you didn't do so well. Semis and themselves, the SMHs, still a whole lot of nothing. Which, you know, if you gauged your market off of the SMHs and the IYTs, which are still in the doghouse below all moving averages, it would have kept you out of a lot of leading stocks that are moving very well. Okay, some of those stocks that started, Amazon obviously, talked about this stock so much. It's been on my Redler All Access list every single day. I talk about the 4 or 5 high beta names for when they get going. And this started last Friday. You know, gave you a quick move, consolidated for a day, and continued. And this is even before earnings. Look at that move. Happens fast. You know, you could have surgically removed some points, or you could have, you know, stuck in it and, you know, put a stop in. And if you did that, you probably did better than I did. But either way, you know, as your chief strategist, this is a leadership name that I've talked about a gazillion times. And if you look for momentum, you got it there. As far as Google, we talked so many different times about when will it clear this spot? When will it clear 565? It did it. When will it clear 580? Did it. Cleared even higher today, and now, you know, after earnings tonight, talked in the morning call today, you know, what do you do into earnings? Do you take it long or do you wait? How do you react? Okay, well, here is your pivot high. This is 615. 615 is a number we talked about this morning on top of 605. Once it gets through 615, shorts have to cover, longs come in. It's been in a 2-year channel or more. So if you traded after hours, hopefully you caught it there. And at this particular point, I think it's close to 650. So you could have taken options or you could have traded it. Either which way you want it to go. But first things first, it woke up prior. Now it's above this pivot. It's been in this 2-year range of doing a whole lot of nothing from 500 to 615. That gives you a measured move to well over, 700. And, yesterday we saw a similar situation with Netflix. Everyone's like, Red Dog, what are we doing to Netflix? I was like, well, all you know is that the previous 52-week high is 102.40. It trades over that after hours. If you're short, shorts have to cover. If you're long, it can go anywhere. And Netflix after hours yesterday gave you a big move. Then today gave you a lot of different types of trades. The point right here was right at 102, whatever that was. 102. The high here was what? 102.30. Okay, and then today it didn't even test it, obviously. But either way, if you were trading the VTF, you saw that we actually got a little short on the open. And day trading wise, once it took out the first 30-minute high, it exploded. So even if you didn't take it and you didn't buy it after hours, there was lots of opportunities intraday. And if you've been holding it because it's a stock that didn't touch the 200-day, it didn't touch the 100-day, didn't even get to the 50-day while the markets did, you got pleasantly rewarded, and this stock showed you relative strength, and you deserve to get paid out big. You go to your 5-minute chart, just to see how it, interacted today. So the first move was lower. I actually made the first part of my day in that lower move. And then the good rule says is once it clears the 30-minute high, you can get long. It cleared it right here. So either you bought it, once it held the majority of the gap and you had your wide range bar, so it could have been there, and you could have started here at 112. You could have added. You had your first move to 115, came in, closed well. Lots of intraday action on Netflix. Can't be really too upset about that. Apple, also performed pretty well. Gave you a few different, two-way type trades, and at this particular point, these things happen. It just happens so damn fast. Here was your move to the 200-day that held. Then you had your last Friday. It engulfed this move, telling you that it was a bit of a trap, wasn't going to look for follow-through. And then we talked about can it hold this spot, which it did, and now it did clear this mini downtrend. And earnings the next Tuesday, and it's got a lot of room between here and the old highs. I don't know if it gets up there prior to earnings. You have 3 sessions left, but at this point, I would say the easier part of the money was probably made, but now it is above the moving averages and acting much more constructive versus where it was when it was in this little mess here. It's all about your timing. It's all about how you maneuver. Broke below, the spot here when it looked weaker. You had your downside follow through. Hopefully you covered, and now you pop back up, and we'll figure out what's next. As far as the banks, been long Bank of America since before numbers. Okay, thinking that it could play catch up, and stock's acting well. You're now very far away from this gap. If you're holding versus that, just sit. Okay, here's your prior high at 18 and change. Here's your weekly chart. Seems as if this time it takes out this spot and gives you a nice measured move towards 20 plus. Okay, and that's the way the market's acting. Here's a big time channel since 2014. We're well into 2015. I do think this gets taken out and you get your 20 plus. It's going to take time, so just figure that out and trade it based on your time frame. As far as other names, MBLY, name we've talked about a gazillion times. Historic highs into this 60-20. Started really focusing on it here in my note and talking to you guys about it right here. Okay, and it's had quite a move since. I even spoke about it when it did the Red Dog reversal down here when it broke the descending channel. And now you have a bit of a doji and probably needs a little time for it to reset up for a good trade. But overall, if it's in your drawer, you're very, very happy. Tesla's been, a little bit weaker, not doing much. But still, look at the move it's had since breaking its descending channel. It's doing just fine. Broke above the 200-day. Still held it above the 50-day. Just needs a little bit of time, and we'll see if that time winds up equating to higher prices. So with all that being said, markets are definitely overbought. The oscillator went from minus 65 when we closed below the 200-day to plus 35 yesterday when we pulled back, and now today probably closed above that. So should you be long out to gazoots into tomorrow? Probably not. If you're in 5, 6, 7 longs, should you have a hedge on? I do think so. Facebook is something I've been holding. This stock looks unbelievable to me. I have, probably my biggest size in this spot or in this stock, and we've been talking about it for quite some time. And look how it closed right near, you know, highs of the year. Where's my little pencil? Give me my pencil. You know, this is 91. This was a nice little trade right there, another trade right there, and it does seem as if it's going to be on its way towards higher prices. It doesn't have earnings for another week and a half, so you know there's room for it to react before then. So this looks really good too. I just want to include that. And lastly, also this VLTC, just this little guy that I think Icon owns over 50% of, had a really big volume today, you know, just because some guys say, why is it on your VTF? It's on my VTF because last time it had an exciting move and went to 22. This time, look at the size of the volume. Hit is almost as high as 9 and maybe, you know, gets on its way. So this VLTC, very interesting, nice move, bull flag. Your real buy price is when it got above this prior high right here. And now it does seem like there could be some follow through, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. Oil, where are you? Absolutely nothing. Oil is weak. XLE, weak. You know, lots of haves and have-nots in the market. You're better off trading the haves versus the have-nots. And the more they get, the more people look around, and then other setups happen. It's been a very quick tape. It's been a very streaky tape. The best way to perform and navigate is with a plan. Redler All Access writes a note every day with 30 stocks on there with lots of different strategies for you to maneuver, for you to be prepared with. It's such a low impact type of product. Go to t3live.com and take a look. You know, I'm on the front page, and I think, you know, a lot of guys are having success because it's putting them in the game. It's delivered to your doorstep every day at 8:30. You have a private Twitter to ask me questions, and hopefully, you know, you're maneuvering this market well, because these leaders that we've been talking about and we've been focusing on had major moves, and it happens a few times a year. If you miss this time around, don't miss the next time around. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Actually, I won't, because I'll be in short L's trading, but I'll be on the VTF on the radio. Have a good night.